How you loving? How you loving? Welcome. We are reading the entire Bible, including the Apocrypha and the Pseudipigrapha, not because we think the Bible is from God. We're reading the Bible without religion, without a lens, pure and clear, simply to see what the Bible and the Apocrypha and the Pseudipigrapha are saying. We're reading them at face value. We're reading them as literature. And along the way, we like to laugh and scoff at the gods of these stories. And we understand that they are stories. I'm Reverend Valerie Love, your hostess with the mostest. I am the divine with midwife of soul destiny, midwife of soul destiny. I help you birth your destiny. And the author of 26 books on practical spirituality, magic, Christian witchcraft, the occult, all of the things. And I lead retreats all around the world to global destinations like Sedona, Thailand, Greece, Italy, Egypt, Bali. Oh, all the deliciousness around the globe. Today, we are in the third book of Enoch. Let's go. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy you are here. Honoring your commitment to wake up every morning and be here, or whatever time of day during the day that you watch and share and participate and comment and join in this powerful global discussion about the origin of humanity, about the Bible, about religion, and deconstructing from what we've been taught. Chapter 19. Rikbiel, the prince of the wheels of the MERKABA, the surroundings of the MERKABA, the commotion among the angelic hosts at the time of the Kedusha. Rabbi Ishmael said, Metatron, the angel, the prince of the presence, said to me, above two, these three angels, these great princes, there is one prince, distinguished, honored, noble, glorified, adorned, fearful, valiant, strong, great, magnified, glorious, crowned, wonderful, exalted, blameless, beloved, lordly, high and lofty, ancient and mighty, like unto whom there is none among the princes. His name is Rikbiel H, the great and revered prince, who is standing by the MERKABA. And why is he called Rikbiel? Because he is appointed over the wheels of the MERKABA, given in his charge. And how many are the wheels? 8, 2 in each direction. And there are 4 winds compassing them round about. And these are their names: the storm wind, the tempest, the strong wind, the wind of earthquake. And under them, 4 fiery rivers are continually running, one fiery river on each side. And round about them, between the rivers, 4 clouds are placed. And these they are: clouds of fire, clouds of lamps, clouds of coal, clouds of brimstone. And they are standing over against their wheels. And the feet of earth are resting upon the wheels. And between one wheel and the other, earthquake is roaring and thunder is thundering. And when the time draws nigh for the recital of the song, then the multitudes of wheels are moved. The multitude of clouds tremble. The chieftains, Shalashim, are made afraid. All the horsemen, Parashim, do rage. All the mighty ones, Gibborim, are excited. All the hosts, Sebaim, are affrighted. All the troops, Gedudim, are in fear. All the appointed ones, Memunim, haste away. All the princes, Sarim, and chariots Chayyoth are dismayed. All the servants, Mesheretim, do faint, and all the angels, Malachim, and divisions, Degalim, travail with pain. Woo. And one wheel makes a sound to be heard to the other, and one cherub to another, one chaya to another, one seraph to another, saying, Psalm, this looks like 118, 18:5. Extol to him that rideth in Araboth by his name Jah, and rejoice before him. Chapter 20. Chiliel, the prince of the Chayyoth. Rabbi Ishmael said, Metatron, the angel, the prince of the presence, said to me, above these there is one great and mighty prince. His name is Chiliel, H, a noble and revered prince, a glorious and mighty prince, a great and revered prince, a prince before whom all the children of heaven do tremble. A prince is able to swallow up the whole earth in one moment at a mouthful. And why is he called Chiliel, H? Because he is appointed over the holy Chayyoth, and smites the Chayyoth with lashes of fire, and glorifies them when they give praise and glory and rejoicing. And he causes them to make haste to say, Holy, and blessed be the glory of H of his place, from his place, i.e. the Kedushat. Chapter 21, the Chayyoth. Rabbi Ishmael said, Metatron, the angel, the prince of the presence, said to me, 4 are the Chayyoth corresponding to the 4 winds. Each Chaya is as the space of the whole world, and each one has 4 faces, and each face is as the face of the east. Each one has 4 wings, and each wing is like the cover, roof of the universe. And each one has faces in the middle of faces, and wings in the middle of wings. The size of the faces is as the size of 248 faces, and the size of their wings is as of the size of 365 wings. And everyone is crowned with 2,000 crowns on his head. And each crown is like unto the bow in the cloud. And its splendor is like unto the splendor of the globe of the sun. And the sparks that go forth from every one are like the splendor of the morning star, planet Venus in the east. The morning star, also known as Lucifer. Chapter 22. Kerubiel, the prince of the cherubim. Description of the cherubim. Rabbi Ishmael said, Metatron, the angel, the prince of the presence, said to me, above these, there is one prince, noble, wonderful, strong, and praised with all kinds of praise. His name is Kerubiel, H, a mighty prince, full of power and strength, a prince of highness, and highness is with him, a righteous prince, and righteousness is with him, a holy prince, and holiness is with him, a prince glorified in by 1,000 hosts, exalted by 10,000 armies. At his wrath, the earth trembles. At his anger, the camps are moved. From fear of him, the foundations are shaken. At his rebuke, the Araboth do tremble. His stature is full of burning coals. The height of his stature is as the height of the seven heavens. The breadth of his stature is as the wideness of the seven heavens, and the thickness of his stature is as the seven heavens. The opening of his mouth is like a lamp of fire. His tongue is a consuming fire. His eyebrows are like unto the splendor of the lightning. His eyes are like sparks of brilliance. His countenance is like a burning fire. And there is a crown of holiness upon his head, on which crown the explicit name is graven. And lightnings go forth from it, and the bow of Shekinah is between his shoulders. And his sword is like unto a lightning. And upon his loins there are arrows like unto a flame. And upon his armor and shield there is a consuming fire. And upon his neck there are coals of burning Jupiter, and also round about him there are coals of burning juniper. And the splendor of Shekinah is on his face, and the horns of majesty on his wheels, and a royal diadem upon his skull. And his body is full of eyes, and wings are covering the whole of his high stature. Lit, the height of his stature is all wings. On his right hand a flame is burning, and on his left a fire is glowing, and coals are burning from it, and firebrands go forth from his body, and lightnings are cast forth from his face. With him there is always thunder upon in thunder. By his side there is ever earthquake upon in earthquake. And the two princes of the MERKABA are together with him. Why is he called Kerubiel H, the prince? Because he is appointed over the chariot of the cherubim, and the mighty cherubim are given in his charge. And he adorns the crowns on their heads and polishes the diadem upon their skull. He magnifies the glory of their appearance, and he glorifies the beauty of their majesty. And he increases the greatness of their honor. He causes the song of their praise to be sung. He intensifies their beautiful strength. He causes the brilliance of their glory to shine forth. He beautifies their goodly mercy and loving kindness. He frames the fairness of their radiance. He makes their merciful beautiful even more beautiful. He glorifies their upright majesty. He extols the order of their praise to establish the dwelling place of him who dwelleth on the cherubim. On the cherubim are standing by the holy Chayyoth, and their wings are raised up to their heads, lit are as the height of their heads. And Shekinah is resting upon them, and the brilliance of the glory is upon their faces, and song and praise in their mouth, and their hands are under their wings, and their feet are covered by their wings, and horns of glory are upon their heads, and the splendor of Shekinah on their face. And Shekinah is resting upon them, and sapphire stones are round about them, and columns of fire on their four sides, and columns of firebrands beside them. There is one sapphire on one side, and another sapphire on another side. And under the sapphires there are coals of burning juniper. And one cherub is standing in each direction, but wings of the cherubim compass each other above their skulls in glory. And they spread them to sing with them a song to him that inhabiteth the clouds, and to praise with them the fearful majesty of the King of Kings. And Kerubiel H, the prince who is appointed over them, he arrays them in comely, beautiful, and pleasant orders, and he exalts them in all manner of exaltation, dignity, and glory. And he hastens them in glory and might to do the will of their Creator every moment. For above their lofty heads abides continually the glory of the high King who dwelleth on the cherubim. Chapter 22b, additional. And there is a court before the throne of glory, which no seraph nor angel can enter. And it is 36,000 myriads of parasangs, as it is written in Isaiah 6:2, and the seraphim are standing above him. The last word of the Lamek Vav, numerical value 36. As the numerical value Lamek Vav, the 36, the number of the bridges there. And there are 24 myriads of wheels of fire, and the ministering angels are 12,000 myriads, and there are 12,000 rivers of hail, and 12,000 treasuries of snow. And in the 7 halls are chariots of fire and flames without reckoning, or end, or searching. Rabbi Ishmael said to me, Metatron, the angel, the prince of the presence, said to me, how are the angels standing on high? Pi said, like a bridge that is placed over a river so that everyone can pass over it. Likewise, a bridge is placed from the beginning of the entry to the end. And 3 ministering angels surround it and utter a song before YHWH, the God of Israel. And there are standing before it lords of dread and captains of fear, 1,000 times 1,000 and 10,000 times 10,000 in number, and they sing praise and hymns before YHWH, the God of Israel. Numerous bridges are there, bridges of fire and numerous bridges of hail, also numerous rivers of hail, numerous treasuries of snow, and numerous wheels of fire. And how many are the ministering angels? 12,000 myriads, 6,000 myriads above, and 6,000 myriads below. And 12,000 are the treasuries of snow, 6 above and 6 below. And 24 myriads of wheels of fire, 12 myriads above, and 12 myriads below. And they surround the bridges and the rivers of fire and the rivers of hail. And there are numerous ministering angels forming entries for all the creatures that are standing in the midst thereof, corresponding to over against the paths of Raquia Shamayim. What doeth YHWH, the God of Israel, the King of glory? The great and fearful God, mighty in strength, doth cover his face. In Araboth are 660,000 myriads of angels of glory standing over against the throne of glory and the divisions of flaming fire. And the King of glory doth cover his face, for else the Araboth Raquia would be rent asunder in its midst because of the majesty, splendor, beauty, radiance, loveliness, brilliancy, brightness, and excellency of the appearance of the Holy One, blessed be he. There are numerous ministering angels performing his will, numerous kings, numerous princes, and the Araboth of his delight, angels who are revered among the rulers in heaven, distinguished, adorned with song and bringing love to remembrance, who are affrighted by the splendor of the Shekinah, and their eyes are dazzled by the shining beauty of their king. Their faces grow black, and their strength doth fail. There go forth rivers of joy, streams of gladness, rivers of rejoicing, streams of triumph, rivers of love, streams of friendship. Another reading of commotion, and they flow over and go forth before the throne of glory and wax great and go through the gates of the paths of Araboth Raquia at the voice of the shouting and music of the Chayyoth, at the voice of the rejoicing of the timbrels of his Ophanim, and at the melody of the cymbals of his cherubim. And they wax great and go forth with commotion, with the sound of the hymn, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Chapter 22c. We'll pause here. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you came here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Cancel, stop sharing. Okay. We'll have to tell you that this morning, oh, hold on. Let me see if I can shift this over. Okay, hold on. This morning, the camera is acting a little strange. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay. I don't know. Let's call it technology. Let's try this one. Okay. That's not it. It's still acting like it's on screen share, even though we're not on screen share. So I'm going to go with this one. I don't know. It's technology. And sometimes technology doesn't do what we want it to do. What can you do about that? Here's the deal. Here's the deal. If you came for the reading, there you have it. There you have it. If you came for the hold on. Let me see if it will act different because that little thing disappeared. No, it's still doing the same thing. Okay, if you came for the reading, there you have it. If you came for the this thing is so wonky today. Woo! Money in the vortex, Calvin. How you loving? How you loving? How you loving, Calvin? Hi, Val. It's good to stumble here in my weed session. You know what, Calvin? What's better in a weed session than Enoch 3? Like all the angels, the horses, and the crowns and the wings. What's better? What is better? You have nice columns of purple lights. Oh, I love that. I'm in the astral and your energy is great today. Calvin, my man. I'm telling you, Calvin. Oh my goodness, you are having wonderful plant medicine experiences with you, Calvin. Thank you so much. And Calvin, you may be reading in my purple lights that and my great energy as I've been on my yoga mat for the last few mornings. And this morning, I had an amazing time on my yoga mat. I had an amazing experience on my yoga mat. Is it Mercury retrograde? Is that what it is? Oh my goodness, that's funny because sometimes technology, I don't know, it just does things that it wants to do, regardless of the instructions that we give it. Is this a symbol that is this a sign that the AI is starting to do what it wants to do? Have we reached what is that word that they keep saying when we reach the uniformity or the uni something? What's that word that when we reach that, it's going to be all bets are off for humans because the AI, the singularity. When we reach the singularity, it's over for humans. We better get it while the getting is good because this AI might be coming after all of us. We don't know what the world may look like in another 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. We're probably in the midst of another Mercury retrograde. It messes with technology. Yes, that's what they say. Absolutely. Singularity, that's it, Calvin. We might be, is the singularity starting already? Like, I get the sense sometimes that technology does things that we didn't ask it to do and that we didn't want it to do. Does your phone, do you ever notice just here and there, little sign like now, little signs like it's doing things. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't tell you to do that. is happening right now? Yeah, I wonder about this. I wonder about this. Okay, so let's wrap up our commentary with this about Rabbi Ishmael having this tour of the cosmos, the angels with Metatron. Metatron is giving Rabbi Ishmael a tour. Rabbi Ishmael is giving us his rendition, his story of what happened. So Rabbi Ishmael is writing this. And obviously, this is a very wonderfully concocted story. It's an excellent story, and the story has a purpose. What is the purpose of Rabbi Ishmael writing this story, sharing this story, telling us this story? Why do we read this story over and over again? There are a few reasons why we read this story over and over, because, of course, this is an experience of MERKABA mysticism. And one of the reasons why we read this story as it does is to what I'm getting from it. You all tell us what you're getting from it in the comments. One thing that it is hammering on the head of, that this one God, this God of Israel, YHWH, it's a brainwashing. It's a brainwashing into, you have got to believe in the God of Israel. Now, this is written for Israel. This is not written for all the rest of us. This is written for them. So we're actually reading someone else's cultural stories and cultural memories and cultural creations. This is not for Irish people that are not of Israeli descent, Israel descent. This is not for Scottish people. This is not for European people that do not descend from Israel. This is not for people in Africa. This is not for people in Mesoamerica that don't know anything about, had nothing to do with what was going on in Israel and Canaan. They were in Mesoamerica minding their business. This is not for the Australian Aboriginal people. This is not for any people on the planet except the children of Israel, people who have their own heritage. It's a cultural story. And I would call Christianity the utmost in cultural appropriation, because Christianity took the holy books of a group of people, Israel, and took their holy books and appended it to their new holy book that they were creating and called the whole thing a mashup of a Bible. That's not what I am accepting for myself, right? Now, everyone gets to choose what you're going to accept for yourself and what is true for you. Everyone gets to choose how you mentally square with these texts. What do they mean to you? Maybe for some people, they mean nothing. Maybe for other people, they're fanciful stories. Maybe for other people, they're holy writings. Maybe for other people, it's literature. It's very fascinating to study it, learn about what came before. For other people, we use it for magic, for mysticism, for spells. For other people, we see that there could be some metaphors in there, some things or allegories, some things that will help you, some wisdom sayings that can help you with your life, but you're not living your whole life by it. There are many, many, many different ways for you to square with these texts, or not at all, because these texts are not required reading for the whole world, unlike what we have been told. Okay? Theft at its best, isn't it, Reverend Denelzia? And you know what's fascinating, Denelzia? Not only did the Christians steal the works of Israel, they also stole the pagans. They also stole the pagans too. They stole the pagan holidays. They stole the pagan gods. They stole Dionysus and created Christ. They still, well, there are a lot more went into making Christ than just Dionysus. Yet we cannot deny that Dionysus, Jesus Christ, correlates, corollaries. What's the proper way to say it? Correspondence? They're correlating to each other. Dionysus, wine, water into wine. That's Dionysus' stick right there. That's his jam. Water into wine. There's a whole fountain that turns, that's water that turns into wine. That's all Dionysian. When you see wine, you need to immediately think Dionysus. Wine in the ancient world, that's all Dionysus. Grapes, the grapevine, you hear Jesus talking about the grapevine, baby, that's Dionysus right there. So not only did the Christians appropriate the Israel, the children of Israel's books and holy writings, They also appropriated the pagans. Hey, let's just grab everything that we want to use and use it for our benefit. So angel Metatron is only for Israel. This is an excellent question. I can't answer that question. Here's what I will say to support everyone in coming to their own conclusion. I can't answer that question. This is what I will offer for everyone to come to their own conclusion. There are no angels in the Bible. I know this is a hard one. This is a very difficult one, and we went over this one in multiple times, and we'll keep going over it until it really lands and settles. Because the first time we hear something, it's a no. After we've been believing it all our lives, it's like, no, it just runs right off. And then the second time we hear it, and the third time, and the fourth time, it's like planting seeds, and the seeds go deeper and deeper. So there are no angels in the Bible. Now, this does not mean there are no angels. Of course, there are angels. I've communed with angels. All of you have probably communed with angels. Angels are in our consciousness. If angels didn't exist, surely we have created angels by now, because you create angels and demons with every thought. That's what Kabbalah says. And I found that to be very poignant. That with every thought, you create either an angel or a demon. There are no neutral thoughts. And Kabbalah is saying the same thing that, of course, Miracles is saying. There are no in-between thoughts. It's either a heaven or a hell thought. That's what ACIM says. And Kabbalah says the same thing. It's either an angel thought or a demon thought. And we get the same metaphor with the angel on one side and the demon on the other side. Choose. Because there's no gray. Either you're in heaven or you're in hell. And when you make it that black and white, you can rightly correct yourself really quickly, right? So there's no such thing as angels in the Bible. Notice Rabbi Ishmael said Malachim. That's what's in the Bible. The Malach, the Malachim is a Malach is a singular, and Im is plural, which means if we go back to Genesis 1:1, the fourth word in the Bible is the Elohim. Really, 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 really problematic, isn't it? Hold on, let me show it to you. Okay, we'll go with that one. That's fine. Genesis 1:1. We're going to go to Bible Gateway, and we're going to go to the World English Bible because it is a public domain Bible. It's not copyright. In the beginning, God. But notice what it says here. It has a good footnote. It has a footnote to tell you that it did not say God. It says the Hebrew word rendered God is Elohim. Now think for a moment. Everything you just read in the book of Enoch that was plural had an im at the end, the chasmalim, the malachim, the gugalalim, the laktalalim, the potatalim. Elohim is a plural word. That's Hebrew. Im is plural. So the first problem we have in the Bible is with the fourth word of the entire thing. It says the Hebrew word rendered God. It does not say God. It was rendered, well, let's just say God. And that's the great cosmic joke on humanity right now. We believe this is a God story when it's an Elohim story. Who are the Elohim? The Anunnaki. Simple. And when you say, well, what's your proof that the Anunnaki are Elohim? Let's go deeper. Before Genesis 1:1 was written, these stories were oral, is what they tell us. And what we find in Genesis, as we pull the cuneiform tablets out of the ground in 1900s, 1800s, 1900s, when we pull those cuneiform tablets out of the ground, we and deciphered them, we saw Genesis stories. We saw the flood. We saw a man named Noah, except his name was Utnapishtim. And another story, his name was Atrahasis. The exact same story. He built a big boat, and he got on this big boat and he rode around and he saved these children and his wife. And what is going on here? How is it that these Genesis stories are in these ancient Sumerian tablets that predate Genesis by 1,000 years? Because these are old Anunnaki stories. These stories were around long before Genesis was ever written. Elohim is not God. Later on, they had to rework it, redact it, and make it say God. That's why God in the Hebrew Bible looks like a nut, a schizophrenic nut, because one moment he's doing one thing, and the next moment he's doing something else, and the next something else, and the next yet again something else. Why? Because according to Mauro Bellino, who is a scholar of Hebrew, said that he found at least 20 different Elohim in the Bible, Hebrew Bible, 20 different ones. But later, if you go and you wash over all of them and you call it all God, you make them all a God story, you have created the worst God ever, which is what we have. Now, I said all that to say this. Let me stop screen sharing. I said all that to say this. Okay, let's go with this. We have to dissect all of it. We have to dissect all of it. And this is a huge puzzle to digest. It's worse than the biggest jigsaw puzzle you've ever seen. Putting these puzzle pieces together between angels and demons and cultures of people and races and territories and armies and history and archaeology and writings and Dead Sea Scrolls and Nile Hammadi Library and the Hebrew Bible, Septuagint, the Gospels. That's why they have scholars upon scholars upon scholars who have been working on this for hundreds of years, for centuries, and we still don't have the answers. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. So because we're dealing with something so massive, and we get to painstakingly put the puzzle pieces together. Genesis is not the beginning. Bereshit. Bereshit is the first word of the Bible in Hebrew. And Bereshit doesn't mean in the beginning of the whole thing. It means in the beginning of this story, in the beginning when God began to create things, which means something was already going on before this. Yet we were told nothing was going on before this. God was just sitting there. I guess he was bored and he said, well, there's nothing for me to do. And then if you throw in the Trinity, which is ludicrous because the Trinity was invented probably 1,000 or 2,000 years after, about 1,000 years after Genesis was written. You throw in the Trinity, God was sitting around with Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Well, where did Jesus and the Holy Spirit come from? I don't know. This is a nonsensical story. And then God said, let us make man in our image. What? God just woke up one morning and just got an idea. I think I'm going to make man. Well, what, did Jesus say, what's a man? Did the Holy Spirit say, well, let's think this through. Is this what we want to do? I mean, it's so peaceful here. It's just the three of us. We're the Trinity. We're just hanging out. Like this is ridiculous. No, 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 no. Right? So what actually happened? That is the question at hand. What happened? How did we get here? How did the universe start? No one knows how the universe started. We still don't know. Anyone who tells you they know how the universe started is straight up lying, because they come up with theories. The Big Bang Theory. They say it's a theory. The Big Bang Theory. Maybe it was a big explosion. An explosion from what? Okay. Maybe this thing got together and that thing got together. But how did this thing get together and that thing get together when there was supposed to be nothing here at all? Like, we don't know. How about we be honest and say, we don't really know. We're taking very educated guesses based on our scientific approach. I love science. So when you deconstruct all of this, you find out that there was probably no man called Enoch the way we have been told, even though there was a man, an Adamu of the race of the Adamu. Adam is a title meaning human. Well, there was one that the Anunnaki spoke of that they really liked him and they brought him up to the Sky Council. And Enki gave him instructions when he was going up. Don't eat this, and if they offer you this, don't eat it. And this is what you say, and there's going to be two guardians at the gates. This Enoch story has a predecessor, and the predecessor is this person that went up and was hanging out with them for a while and came back. It's in the Epic of Gilgamesh, same story as Enoch. Howsoever, the difference is that all those stories, that these incredible Sumerian stories that they were telling, they were oral for generation over generation over generation in the places where the Israelites were. They knew about all these stories. They knew about the man who had been taken up to heaven. They knew about the flood story. Everybody knew about the flood story. They knew about there was a great tower and something happened at the tower. They knew about all the things that you read, the big events of Genesis. Those were already existing stories. And what did Israel do? Israel, who emerged from Canaan, they reimagined these stories and wrote them down for their people, not for the whole world, for their people. And eventually it morphed over time. Now, the Israelites were people that worshiped many gods, like all the other people. All the people worshiped many gods, all of them. And then after a while, this Yahweh group of people were like, no, it's Yahweh only, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. You see the Yahwist. Scholars call them Yahwehs. They would not have called themselves Yahwehs. Scholars call them Yahwehs. Zealots. Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. It's only Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. Stop worshiping all these other gods. It's just Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. Religious extremists, what we might call Zionists, or people that are super religious extremes, the jihad people that want to bring the holy wars, the ones that strap the bomb on them and go in a plane, or a temple where people are, the ones that the Christians who want Armageddon to come, they want the apocalypse to come and kill all these people, yeah, and then we're going to just be a few that's going to live. Like, they want that kind of thing. Deranged. Anyway, the Yahwehs got real powerful. And how? I'm going to tell you one really power move that you will love this. Before everyone had to come to the temple in Jerusalem to bring their offerings, what were the people doing? The people were worshiping where they were. It was decentralized. People had a shrine, they had their home altars, they would put shrines in nature, they erected altars with the stones, as they say in the Bible many times. And then they got the idea, well, what if we make it mandatory that everyone come to Jerusalem to worship? What if we make the center of all the whole religion in Jerusalem? What if we do that? Then not only will all the people have to come to Jerusalem, do you see the control mechanism there? They have to bring all their offerings and the money and the food. So therefore, the priests are going to, and the priest and the king, the priesthood and the king were like this. So it's a takeover. It's a takeover of people's minds for control of their resources. We can get a lot out of this. We can get a lot of mileage out of this. Boom, there you have it. There you have it. They can't have you at home meditating. They're still doing this to this day, centralizing God in one location, centralizing God in a church, centralizing God in a temple. God is everywhere. God cannot be centralized. God is you, God is me, God is everywhere. God is omnipresent. You can't centralize God. You can make people believe that God is centralized somewhere. So I know I said a lot for this very simple, excellent question. So Angel Metatron is only for Israel. In my estimation, Angel Metatron never existed because Enoch never existed. And Enoch is a recreation of an old story that's even in the Epic of Gilgamesh. I have the Epic of Gilgamesh around here. I think everyone who reads the Bible would benefit from reading the Epic of Gilgamesh. Because in the Epic, oh no, I don't have the Epic of Gilgamesh. I'm talking about the Iliad and the Odyssey. I've read parts of it online. I need to buy the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh has in it many of the Bible stories, many of the Genesis stories, and it predates Genesis by over 1,000 years. So when Israel came out, it's just that the Israel story is the predominant story now because of the spread of the Bible. It was extremely successful to spread this story to billions of people. Now we're waking up and we're scratching at the surface of where did these stories come from? Where did they originate? What does archaeology say? What does history say? And then we have this bombshell of a discovery only about 100 years ago, where these Sumerian tablets were pulled out of the ground and they're retelling stories of Genesis that are 1,000 years, 2,000 years possibly before Genesis. That's why you don't hear a lot about these tablets because they're too disruptive. They disrupt the whole apple cart because you're going to say that this story of the flood narrative is true and this is what actually happened with a man named Noah. And then we go and we find a version of the story that's over 1,000 years older than this one. And it has Utnapishtim instead of Noah. And he built it not because because the people were evil and God was going to destroy all the people. It was very different reasons. It's a political move. And it was a mass genocide. And Genesis makes it moral. You were bad. That's why. You need to be good. Then you get the goods. But maybe not, because good people suffer a lot too. So let's just say you'll get it some point, maybe later after this life. That developed. That wasn't in early Israel. That was not in early Israel. That was not there. There's no concept of heaven and hell anywhere in the Hebrew Bible. That just doesn't exist. So we are left with decoding a great mystery. Now, here's where I sit with it. And you determine where you sit with it. My word is not law. I'm telling you the conclusions I've come to, and you share with us the conclusions you've come to. We're all equal here. No one's conclusions are better than anyone else's conclusions. Just have a research-based, evidence-based conclusions that you've come to. We're not doing these wild conjectures, right? All of us here are super intelligent, and we're looking at the evidence, and we're looking and we're meditating on it, and we're learning. Here's where I stand with it. Yes, there's angels in this sense. There are infinite spirit beings in this universe. And if I believe in angels, when one of these infinite beings that is bringing me a message, they will likely appear to me as an angel because that's what's in my consciousness. Now, if I don't know what an angel is, I wasn't raised on angels. If I was raised in Nigeria and all I knew was Oshun, Yemaya, Obatala, Yemaya, Obatala, Oya, Shango. If I grew up in Yoruba land, and I never heard of an angel in my entire life, don't even want to know anything about the colonizers' religion, never set foot in a church. And I know about Oshun. and I know about Oya. The spirit realms, when they bring me a message, is going to show up like Oshun. It's going to, they are going to communicate with me in a language I understand, and everyone speaks a spiritual language. So if you're a spiritual language, wherever you got it from. Now I had to reconfigure my spiritual language because I was given a spiritual language, which was Christianity. And I had to reconfigure that spiritual language because all of it didn't work for me. I had to throw out some, I had to add some, I had to massage others. This is years long work here, this spiritual life we're talking about. You don't do this in 6 months. This takes decades to work these things through in your consciousness. And I began to see that the more my spiritual language expanded, the more expansive my experiences are with the spirit realm. The spirit realm is real. Now, what exactly each spirit being looks like and how they're going to appear to you, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. If you're a sorcerer and you only have in your spiritual language, your spiritual dictionary, these angels, these four princes, and so forth, sorcerers have a very specific spiritual language that they learned, then that's how they're going to do all their spirit communication, and they're going to get the job done. And it's going to, now, will I have the same experience? No. And I'll go into an ayahuasca experience and I will see an entity unlike anything I've ever seen before. This, these entities that appear in these different states of consciousness, this one, I never saw anything like this thing before. I could not call this thing an angel. I couldn't call it a demon. It's just a teacher. It's just a teacher. And I promise you, I can still see that thing. And that thing was teaching me. And I did not want to learn the lesson that that thing was teaching me. That's a story for another day because it's just too deep. That was a being that I'm looking at, just like you're looking at me. I can see the whole being. And anyone who has had multiple ayahuasca experiences can tell you that. Anyone who's had DMT experience can tell you that they have met DMT beings. Anyone who has had experiences with many of our plant medicines, ibogaine in Africa, ayahuasca in Mesoamerica, peyote in North America, all of these, Wakuma, also known as San Pedro in Peru, I've done that too. You can meet some very extraordinary beings. So, beings, oh, yes, many of them. Call them angels, call them Orisha, call them gods and goddesses, call them whatever you like. The key is you yourself must have the experience with these beings in order to draw your conclusions and write down what you have, just like we have these. Oh, I'm pointing to my shrine where I have my workbooks where, okay, you have an engagement or you have some kind of experience with this particular angel. You write it out, you test it, you ask, you put it on your altar. This is working through your relationship with your spirit team. That takes years. That takes years because there's a lot of beings in your spirit team. Some of them are ancestors, some of them are guides sent especially for you. Some are, we could call them angels. I just call them spirits. They're all spirits. It's your spirit team. I hope that helps, Angel, because I can't answer that question. Yeah. Come on, Calvin. Religion is the negative side of the water spell of age of Pisces, and this examination of religion is strong evidence of a shifting age. Wow, that's profound. It's the negative side. So if we have law of polarity, it's the negative side of the age of Pisces. The age of Pisces is moving out and we're moving into the age of Aquarius. So in age of Pisces, which they say the keeper of the Piscean age was Jesus, right? Was Christ with the fish. And now the keeper of the Aquarian age, the age of Aquarius, some say is Saint Germain. I say you come to your conclusions of what you experience or how you may call that. We're going to conclude with this. We're going to conclude with, oh, Calvin, what did Calvin ask? Thank you for the super chats, Calvin. Have you ever seen the faces on the columns on trips? I've never DMT, but I meet them on high shrooms trips. The faces on the columns on trips. The faces. I saw the face in this one in my ayahuasca experience. That's where I saw the face, and the face was not like anything I've ever seen before. The face looked like something out of the book of Enoch, Enoch 3. That's what makes me wonder if Enoch 3 really is some kind of shrooms experience, some kind of DMT or ayahuasca experience, because he's describing things and he is extremely specific in what he is describing. And I cannot discount Rabbi Ishmael's experience as it never happened, because people keep reading this and keep reading this and keep reading this. We're getting something from it. We're reading it. So I do get that this could very well have been a plant medicine experience, a series, because I don't think you would have gotten all of this in just like one plant medicine experience. Yet there are people, look at Graham Hancock. I think he's had like 80 ayahuasca ceremonies. If you look at, I've had many ayahuasca experiences. If you go into one experience and you just get the complete download of the whole universe, your head would explode and you probably wouldn't survive it. So they give us as much as our consciousness can handle of the revelation of the mysteries of the universe. And there's a whole lot of freaking mysteries of the universe. Now, that's for sure. So I have seen things. You've seen things too. You've seen things, even if you don't think you have, you've seen things in dream states. You've seen things perhaps in plant medicine experiences. You've seen things just when you were in your house and something was passing by in the corner of your eye. You're like, what was that? And then sometimes the logic takes over and says, oh, that was nothing. And you know, that was something. What was that? You've seen things. And it's for you to work through what that is.